Hey everybody, good evening. Great to see you. I've been away from this for a while, so forgive me just a moment here of getting everything all set up. Delighted to be with you this evening. Thanks for joining us. Charlie and Marilyn Bernhardt have hosted me many times in their home for soup and song concerts, beginning I think in 2004 or 2005. It's been a long time. It's been a solid 15 years anyways. And I'm sorry that we can't be together in person tonight, but I'm so glad that they agreed to try their first ever soup and song virtual concert. So Charlie and Marilyn, thank you so much for jumping in and sponsoring this evening's concert. This is a union concert. For those of you that are curious, Soup and Song is an all-union house concert series with a collective bargaining agreement with AFM Local 1000, the Traveling Musicians Union. So proud to be playing a union house tonight. My house is always a union house, but proud to be working with Charlie and Marilyn this evening, and so glad that you're here. Asked me here to tell you about my neighbors and my friends, to talk about the who and what, the where and how and when. But I won't give you anything that you don't already know. But if you'd like, I'll sing that list of songs before I go. Let me sing you a song about the people that I love, the poets and philosophers, the workers and the wanderers, the ones who walk the picket lines, who dare to stand and fight, and the ones who hold their babies close and rock them through the night. Well, you say it's un-American to do the things I do. I sing for justice, liberty, and civil rights, it's true. But I say it's un-American to ask me how I vote, how I pray, or what I believe. But here's a song I wrote. Let me sing you a song about the people that I love, poets and philosophers, the workers and the wanderers, the ones who walk the picket lines, who dare to stand and fight, and the ones who hold their babies close and rock them through the night. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Well, if you want to send me to prison, I guess that's the way it'll be. I won't give you fodder for your paranoid machine. If the price of my silence is shackles, well then feathers take me away. For I will live to sing again and rise with a brand new day. Let me sing you a song about the people that I love, poets and philosophers, the workers and the wanderers, the ones who walk the picket lines, who dare to stand and fight, and the ones who hold their babies close and rock them through the night. La da 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 da. That's the easy part. You can sing it from home. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 the people that I love, the poets and philosophers, the workers and the wanderers, the ones who walk the picket lines, who dare to stand and fight, and the ones who hold their babies close and rock them through the night. Yes, the ones who hold their babies close and rock them through the night. Thank you. I'm just so glad to be doing this with you all this evening. This was kind of a surreal leap into the void a year and a half ago when I first started doing live stream broadcasts. And I spent 14 months being solidly at it, and then I decided I just needed a break from the screen, and I took a big chunk of the summer off from doing broadcasts and went camping and did live concerts all over about 12 different states in the U.S. And now it's October, and we're back in the studio. So I'm going to play another Union song for you. That first one was a song I wrote on the morning that Pete Seeger passed away, and I was very privileged in my life to get to know him a bit and call him a friend and a mentor. I also got to know a fellow named Mitch Podolak up in Winnipeg. And Mitch was the founder of the Winnipeg Folk Festival and the Mayworks Festival, along with his co-conspirator Derek Black. And they had me to Winnipeg several times for concerts. So in 2019, they celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Winnipeg General Strike, one of the most consequential labor actions in North American history and almost never written about in the history books, as is sadly the case of a lot of working class history. But I promised Derek and Mitch that I would have a song ready to go for the festival. And then I promptly forgot about it for almost 6 months. And I was on an Air Canada flight up to Winnipeg from O'Hare, and I realized that I owed them a song. But rather than go into a linear history of the whole general strike, I just imagined myself one of the workers there, maybe one of the Wobblies, the industrial workers of the world. And I wrote a song that would have been concurrent with a lot of the songs that were in their Union songbook, the Little Red Songbook. It was titled Songs to Fan the Flames of Discontent. They were clear about their purpose in organizing. And so this is for all those workers in 1919 that walked out on strike, held the city for almost 7 weeks, and negotiated for better working conditions. And as a result of those negotiations, changed the shape of labor throughout North America. It was 1919, and all around the world people started marching with their victory flag unfurled. We've shed our blood on battlefields, enslaved in deep dark mines. We rally to the banner, bread and roses, it's our time. Come gather, fellow workers, and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our freedom song. From Europe and to Canada, across the USA, we cry out for justice and for fair and equal pay. All sisters and brothers and all workers here unite. We strive for one big union and defend our common rights. Come gather, fellow workers, and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our victory song. Halifax and Thunder Bay to the Fraser River shore, Seattle, San Francisco, and Chicago hear us roar. From Boston on to Dublin town are heard the people's cries. No more to drudge and idler when the workers organize. Come gather, fellow workers, workers, and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our victory song. Some of us were born of means and others not a dime. We spend our lives in service to a cause we hold sublime. All laborers in commonwealth, now let our voices say that one way or another we will bring the greater day. Come gather fellow workers and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our victory song. So here's to Big Bill Haywood, Mother Jones, and Eugene Debs, along with Emma Goldman and Joe Hill and all the Reds, and all those fellow travelers who beckon to the call. An injury to one of us is an injury to all. Come gather fellow workers and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our victory song. We may not win our struggle here, but sure as hell we'll try. For the future of our children we are steadfast by and by. It's only when our minds are joined with muscle we can stand and bring to birth a new world, arm in arm and hand in hand. Come gather fellow workers and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our freedom song. Come gather fellow workers and raise your voices strong. We rise today in Winnipeg to sing our victory song. We rise up all around the world and sing our freedom song. Thank you so much. Just for what it's worth, I'm not actually reading the chat while I'm singing. There's enough bells and whistles happening here for me to keep an eye on that would just absolutely derail the train. But I will read the comments later. And you're always welcome to send me a note through my website, which is joejencks.com, joejencks.com. And I'm pretty good about responding to email. We're going to put this down for a minute and move on to a request of Charlie's for this evening, a song that he had not heard me sing for a while and wanted to hear. It's called All About Love. For those of you who have joined us just a few songs into the evening, you obviously know I'm Joe Jencks. If you didn't know it, you found it on YouTube. This is a concert given in partnership with Soup and Song Concert, Soup and Song House Concerts in Marriottsville, Maryland. Keep on walking this line between my visions and the highway signs. I don't know how to keep on striking the spark to ignite the flames that will pierce the dark. But I'm already gone if I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone if I can't love through the fear. keep from being a wreck. When I feel the breath of the reaper cooled on my neck, it's hard to live inside the rhyme and the rhythm of the song, to respirate my gratitude and pretend that nothing is wrong. But I'm already gone if I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone if I can't love through the fear. So I hang on tight and watch the slipping sands, try to hold the contradictions in the palm of my hand. For every grain that tumbles, there are more that remain. But the hand that closes to a fist loses all that it contains. So let it crack wide open, let this broken heart bleed. Let it soak through the soil and nourish the seed. Let the water from my eyes be a gift to the parched land, till all my sisters and brothers rejoice hand in hand. 'Cause I'm already gone if I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone if I can't love through the fear. If I can't love through the fear, sisters and brothers, we must love through the fear. It's all about love. 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 There you go, Charlie. Thanks for that. This next one I wrote while sitting on a dock in Maine. It's a good starting point for probably many, many songs, but this song in specific, several summers ago I was invited to play a concert up there and stuck around to visit a friend's property right on the water. And it was one of those nights, I don't know, maybe it's a Maine thing, but I feel like I've had nights like this in other parts of the country, but it was somewhat unique being ocean and coastal. But the sky was just so clear. It was astonishing. You know, it felt like you could see every star up there, see the whole of the Milky Way spread out overhead. And the bay that I was sitting on, dangling my legs off a dock, was so calm that it was like a sheet of glass, and you could see all of those stars from above reflected below. And there I sat on a hot summer evening. It is feeling more like summer here, I will say, today than autumn. But I relish the coming change and cooler weather. Not here yet, though. So, yeah, I just sat there dangling my legs over with stars above me and stars below me and feeling like, I don't know, feeling like I was in the center of a celestial Oreo. And I was the filling in the middle. And you know, after I sang a few verses of Ground Control to Major Tom, got a little David Bowie in there, and then I started thinking about Rumi, the 13th century Sufi mystic, as you do. And then I started thinking about an old American folk song, Home on the Range. And the last verse of that song says, "How often at night when the heavens are bright with the light from the glimmering stars, have I stood there amazed and asked as I gazed if their glory exceeds that of ours." And that was my mother's favorite verse of that song. And So my parents would have just celebrated their 69th wedding anniversary if they were still here on the 27th of September. And it got me thinking about that song again and those verses and the song, Let It Rain. This is how you know this is going out live. Because otherwise I would have edited that part out. One moment of mercy was all that it took to drive me clean out of my head. A piece of my heart had been sleeping so long that I had given it for dead. Better than I traveled this journey, and none had returned here unchanged. But the lilacs in bloom and the thunderhead looms, and my lonely heart prays for the rain. Let it rain, oh let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. When the ancients and mariners looked toward the heavens at night, did they yearn for the day? Or were they transfixed by the wonders they saw in the lights that guided their way? I need to believe that there is no sadness so great that it cannot heal. Sometimes the longing inside it consumes me so much. Well, it's all that I feel. Let it rain, oh, let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. I stand on the ledge and I cling to the edge for dear life, afraid to let go. What if love's call pulls me into a free fall? What then? Oh, tell me what then? Somewhere way out there, beyond right and wrong, there's a place that I long to see. If I don't return, I'll be wishing you well from wherever I happen to be. Let it rain, oh let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, oh let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Thank you. I'm just gonna. Yep, was just checking the mobile device there to make sure there were no messages telling me that any piece of this had gone off the rails, and that's great. Again, huge shout out to Soup and Songhouse Concerts in Maryland for co-presenting this evening. And a shout out to Anna Ratliff, who is running the chat and posting links for me. You can find more information on my website on joejencks.com. And this is a concert in the spirit of most house concerts that's being offered sort of by goodwill offering. So while Charlie and Marilyn are underwriting a union contract and a union pension contribution, absolutely, I am relying on you and on your generosity. These are tough times. In the last 2 weeks of June and the beginning of July, the first week of July, I put 28 new concerts on the calendar for the fall of 2021. And by the beginning of August, they were starting to come off the calendar. By the end of August, all but 5 of those concerts had evaporated off the calendar for the fall. Some have been postponed to the spring. Some, like Soup and Song, were going online. But, this is, without belaboring the point, just a challenging time. So your generosity is very much appreciated. And thanks for tuning in to the concert. I'll keep the music going here. One of the joys of my life is that every once in a while I get to do a songwriting workshop with young people in an academic setting. And I got a phone call that was just delightful from a teacher in Waukegan, Illinois, who was looking for a songwriter that could come in and work with a group of 4th and 5th graders, 8 different groups, in fact, and write over the arc of some period of time 8 songs that focused on social justice oriented people in American history, a songwriting project that would uplift those voices, those historic voices, and help the kids learn through music about that piece of history. And would I maybe be interested in doing this? And I'm secretly doing my little woohoo happy dance in the background for a grant-funded project that relates to social justice and young people. I mean, couldn't get better than that. So this is a song that came out of Miss May's class. She has now retired, I hear, and I'm sorry to hear that, a phenomenal educator, but this is a song that I worked on with those kids because Miss May had a big poster of Dr. George Washington Carver hanging on the wall. And as soon as I walked in, I knew exactly what we were going to take on because I'd never heard a folk song about Dr. Carver, and I thought he deserved one, a phenomenal American. Back in 1864, Diamond Grove, Missouri, a boy was born in slavery. He would change the world. Very first African-American to enroll at Iowa State. He earned a bachelor and a master's degree. He really changed his fate. Peanut Man, sweet potato man, cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. He became a scientist, a botanist profound. Loved to solve big mysteries with what grew in the ground. Sweet potato rubber, candy, soap, and glue. A professor at Tuskegee, a man whose heart was true. Peanut Man, sweet potato man, cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. When the farmers grew all cotton, nearly killed the soil flat, he told them to grow peanuts to put the nitrogen back. Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. Pay attention to the things you learn. Someday you're gonna need 'em. Peanut Man, sweet potato man. Cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants, make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. Peanut man, sweet potato man, cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. Peanut Man. Carver took out over 300 patents in his life for various inventions, more of which had to do with the sweet potato than the peanut. And just to dispel the myth, George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. The Mayans did at least 1,000 years earlier, but he certainly repopularized it. So there you go, history lesson for the evening, at least for this continent. I'm going to play another request and a song that I never would have written if I did not know Marilyn and Charlie Bernhardt. This is a story that finds its roots in Marilyn's family history and in a town called Trochenbrod, an independent shtetl that existed in the borderlands between Ukraine and Poland. And it was a haven from about 1830 until about 1940 for Jews from various parts of Europe. It's understood that Princess Sophia, had donated some portion of this land that had been part of her dowry to a group of Jews that she felt like were being mistreated and wanted to give them a place to be. And there's a deep, deep conversation to be had here about the nature of classism and racism and anti-Semitism. I'm going to sidestep all of that and let you have that conversation in your own homes and amongst yourselves because this is a concert. But this song, needless to say, took up probably 120 hours of research time for me as I watched videos of survivors, not just of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, but survivors specifically of Trochenbrod and of the massacre there. Most of them had been children at the time and out playing in the forest. And it was my privilege, while some of those survivors were alive, to meet a few of them. Children of Trochenbrod. Can ever know or say what makes a heart go blind, what paves the road to hatred, or what shadows fill the mind? What voice cries out in memory, what sacred words unspoken demand each generation try to heal what has been broken? From the heart of the wilderness, by the labor of their hands, the people built this town. Row by row they plowed the land. And Friday night by candlelight, the ancient prayers were read, celebrating Shabbos, singing songs and breaking bread. We remember, we are the children of Trochenbrod. There were whispers on the wind in 1941 that the war would come to Trochenbrod, but there was nowhere left to run. And rumors of the camps came in with refugees each day. They were trying to find safety and stay out of history's way. We remember, we are the children of Trochenbrod. In August 1942, Trochenbrod stood brave. Hitler's army gave them shovels. They were forced to dig their graves. Soldiers lined them up like bottles, and they did not waste a round. Not a single soul was spared. 5,000 lifeless on the ground. And then the Nazis stole the paving stones. They filled in every well. They took a torch to Eden, and they turned it into hell. When there was nothing left but ash, they planted trees to hide their shame. The wicked men tried to erase it. We know this place has a name. We remember, we are the children of Trochenbrod. We remember, we are the children of Trochenbrod. All the children of Trochenbrod. Nachnu kolne Trochenbrod. Todos es criances ži Trochenbrod. Alle der Kinder von Trochenbrod. And we remember. And we remember. We remember with sorrow and with gratitude those who lived to teach us lessons. When it is said, never again, may it also be said, never again to anyone. Yeah, huge thanks to Charlie and Marilyn for introducing me to the stories that became that song. Charlie and I met at the Great Labor Arts Exchange in Washington, D.C. Actually in Silver Spring, Maryland, if you want to get technical. It was also the first place I met a fellow named John Fromer. This is a song by John Fromer called Welcome, and I've been singing this a lot to myself lately for probably some obvious reasons. Welcome into my land. It's your land too now. I want to shake your hand. I want to know your story, the journey you've been on. I want to hear your language. I want to learn your song. The earth knows no borders, just one sky above. Friendship has no fences, no walls can stop the love. Welcome, may
Make my home yours. These arms are open, and so are the doors. The faces of the world are all around us today. Many voices make for harmony, so let our children play. My life is richer for your presence here today. Let's break bread together while our children play. Welcome. I hope you like it here. I hope that you are safe and your children without fear. But if they come to take you in the dead of the night, well, I'll be there beside you to stand up for your rights. I'll harbor you, I'll fight for you, as you would do for me. And when everyone is welcome, we will all be free. Welcome into my land. It's your land too now. I want to shake your hand. I want to know your story, the journey you've been on. I want to hear your language. I want to learn your song. The earth knows no borders, just one sky above. Friendship has no fences, no walls can stop the love. Welcome. I say welcome.
John Fromer presente. I miss that guy so much. Great songwriter. Look him up. Fromer, John, Jon. Well, I wrote an essay a couple of days ago that is going to be published in the Madison Folklore Society monthly publication. It's also up on my website, up on joejencks.com, about why I chose to become a folk singer and about the Woody Guthrie song Deportees. Woody Guthrie's words, the plane wreck at Los Gatos Canyon, and Marty Hoffman's music, his music. Woody wrote the words in 48, Marty wrote the music in 57, and the copyright date in most books says 59, but Marty wrote it in 57 because Woody had never settled on a melody. And then Pete Seeger was doing a concert in Fort Collins, Colorado, where Marty Hoffman was a student, getting a degree in English and education. And he asked Marty's permission to record the song. And it's because Pete Seeger recorded this version of the song that it started to spread like wildfire over the next decade and a half through the folk community. I first heard it on a Pete Seeger and Arlo Guthrie Together in Concert album. I thought that had been recorded at Carnegie Hall, but in my research for the essay, I found out that album was recorded in a number of music halls, including one in my region in Chicago, which made me happy. But Woody Guthrie's Deportees, melody by Marty Hoffman.
Crops are all in, the peaches are rotting, the oranges are stacked in their creosote dust. They're flying you back to the Mexico border to pay all your money to wait back again. My father's own father, he waded that river. They took all the money that he made in his life. My brothers and sisters, they worked in the fruit trees, rode the big trucks till they took down and died.
Sing it with me if you know it.
Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, for all they will call you will be deportees. Some of us are illegal and others not wanted. The work season ends and we have to move on. 600 miles to the Mexico border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers and thieves. We've died in your hills and we've died in your deserts. We've died in your valleys, we've died in your plains. We've died in your trees and we've died in your bushes. Both sides of the river, we've died just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, for all they will call you will be deportees. A sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. Like a fireball of lightning, it shook all our hills. Who are these friends all scattered like dried leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Is this the best way we can grow your big orchards? Is this the best way we can grow your good fruit? To fall like dried leaves and rot on your topsoil, to be known by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, for all they will call you will be deportees.
Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita.
Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, for all they will call you will be deportees. Yes, all they will call you will be deportees.
Well, I have a new love in my life, and yeah, I ended up writing a song. It happens. In this case, it's a pretty safe kind of thing to have a little infatuation with. It's a 1978 dark forest green Fiat 124 Sport. My dear friend Jeremy was selling this vehicle at a price even a folk singer could navigate, probably less than some people spend on a fancy refrigerator. and it runs beautifully, and it shows signs of being a vintage automobile. And I won't get into the fact that I find it disturbing that a vehicle younger than me is considered a vintage automobile, but that's a whole other thing. But I did the sensible thing and called my insurance agent first and said, how much is it going to cost me to insure this thing? And he said, it's an antique vehicle. And I winced and said, yes. And he said, $10 a month. I thought, okay, I think this is an indulgence that even a frugal man like myself can navigate. And so I have had a beautiful love affair with this vehicle, going out and driving through the cornfields. I take off about half an hour before sunset, or maybe 15 minutes before sunset, and just head west on the county roads through the cornfields. And I feel like an old barnstormer in a biplane, just cruising around. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's a pretty tiny little car. I don't think I would take it on an interstate, but it sure is good fun out here in the county roads. And so here's a song I wrote. I took another friend of mine for a ride, and he turned to me after about 20 minutes out in the cornfields, and he said, you know what this thing is? It's a meditation machine. And I said, that's great. Do you mind if I use that in a song? He said, not at all. Go for it. 24 sitting under the hood, dual overhead cams, the power is good. Tan leather seats and a fold-down roof. Working class Ferrari, no need to be aloof. Pull out the choke and honey, turn the key on the dark forest green meditation machine. Woo. She's got a few dings, got a few rattles, but the engine still sings. Loves to drive when the timing is right. Wind in your hair and everything is alright. A little bit of love and some gasoline in the dark forest green meditation machine. Take it to the highway, take it to the road. Let your cares go, honey, lighten your load. Chasing the sunset with the canvas down. Had a bad day, this'll turn it around. Rear wheel drive, 1800cc. Horn sounds like the bugle boy from Company B. Wind in your hair and you're feeling free. Sing glory, hallelujah, and glory be. Nothing can cure a case of ennui like the dark forest green meditation machine. Take up yoga if it helps you along. Buddhist meditation with chanting and song. Tai Chi, Shiatsu, acupuncture, Qigong. If it works for you, who's to say that it's wrong? But nothing can halt progression toward the mean like the dark forest green meditation machine. Take it to the highway, take it to the road. Let your cares go, honey, lighten your load. Chasing the sunset with the canvas down. Had a bad day, this'll turn it around. A Fiat looks and baby fait accompli. Driving this car to chorus spree. Going together or going alone. Turn the radio off and power down your phone. Magical ride, nothing here is routine. In the dark forest green meditation machine. Cruising like a star from the silver screen in the dark forest green meditation machine. Here you go. And that 1978 Fiat 124 Sport has an engine roughly the same size as a large motorcycle engine. So it's kind of funny, like writing this, like, yeah, my car is the best song about that little car, but it really is the best. It's totally cool. And my sweetie went in on it with me, for which I'm grateful. She decided to share in the joy. And yeah, life is good. But it's definitely a fair weather car. So conditions have to be just right to take that out of the garage. But good fun. And there's a few pictures posted on my website if you look at some of the older essays that are up there. Probably a good time to pause and just say that there are links in the side chat on the YouTube. For those of you that are watching full screen on a big screen, you may want to minimize if you need to find those links. But there are links to PayPal and Venmo, and arrangements can be made if you would prefer to send a check for this evening's concert to make a contribution now or sometime after the fact. Just shoot me a note through my website, again, joejencks.com, and I'll be happy to get you an address that you can send something off to. And thank you in advance for your kindness and for your generosity. I would never have imagined in March of 2020 that I would be able to translate 22 years of a touring career into staying in one place and connecting with people through this means, but it's extraordinary. And it's been great to see some of you over the summer. Helene, we did a backyard concert in Connecticut in Helene's backyard, and I saw, just as I was working on the tech, I saw that there was a new youngling in her family, and this is the first folk concert that young person has been to. Very excited about that. Carol, good to see your name pop up. Of course, Charlie and Marilyn, thanks for hosting this evening, and I'm just going to keep on with the music for another half an hour. So I'm going to switch to the electric over here. Some of you have been wondering what this is on my side here. It is an electric bouzouki built for me by Baird Blaine in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the same guy that built my acoustic bouzouki. And this is a song that I wrote on the 50th anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination.
January 15th, 1929, born in the city of Atlanta. Just another preacher's kid singing in the choir. This kid had a vision, reached for something higher. 6 years old when segregation put him in his place. Started school and lost his childhood friends, questioning the order of society and grace. Questioning the order of society and race. Many deeper truths which one cannot escape. Art and oh, Martin Luther King, keep holding on to what you know is true. Living out the teachings, continuing to sing. Martin, oh, Martin Luther King. Booker T. Washington High School was the place. He began to raise his voice on poverty and race. Headed off to Morehouse, a 15-year-old sage, chasing dreams of dignity beyond his youthful age. Martin, oh, Martin Luther King, keep speaking up for what you know is true. Living out the teachings, continuing to sing. Martin, oh, Martin Luther King. Studying the sacred word challenged him to grow. He headed for Montgomery, toward a fate he could not know. City buses, boycotts, peaceful marches in the street. A bomb thrown through a window crown of thorns laid at his feet. Albany to Birmingham, St. Augustine to Selma, Boston, New York City, Chicago and D.C., carrying the burden and the banner of equality till 1968, April 4th, Memphis, Tennessee. Martin, oh Martin Luther King, we will speak for what we know is true. Living out the teachings, continuing to sing. Martin, oh Martin Luther King. Martin, oh Martin Luther King, keep speaking up for what you know is true. Living out the teachings, continuing to sing. Martin, oh Martin Luther King. Living out your teachings, continuing to sing. Martin, oh Martin Luther King. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah. I've been pleased in my travels in Ireland, which is actually where I'm supposed to be next week, but of course that too was postponed as a result of the pandemic. But in my travels there, I've gotten to know a lot of great Irish musicians and singer-songwriters, and I ended up in a song swap one night with a most esteemed colleague of mine, Luca Bloom, and that began a collegial friendship that means a great deal to me. He's just an extraordinary songwriter. And I played my song Lady of the Harbor, which I'll play in a little bit, to which he responded, "Oh, I've got a song about immigration from, the other direction." And he played this song for me, and I knew instantly that I wanted to learn it, but I couldn't really find my voice on it on the guitar. And then Baird made this amazing instrument for me, this electric bouzouki, and I suddenly knew what I needed to do with Luca Bloom's song, City of Chicago.
In the city of Chicago, as the evening shadows fall, there are people dreaming of the hills of Donegal. In 1847 was the year it all began. Deadly pains of hunger drove 1 million from their lands. They journeyed not for glory, their motive wasn't greed. A voyage of survival across the stormy sea. In the city of Chicago, as the evening shadows fall, there are people dreaming of the hills of Donegal. Some of them knew fortune, some of them knew fame, more of them knew hardship, and they died upon the plains. They spread across the nation They rode the railroad cars. They brought their songs and music to ease their lonely hearts. To the city of Chicago, as the evening shadows fall, there are people dreaming of the hills of Donegal. In the city of Chicago, as the evening shadows fall, there are people dreaming of the hills of Donegal, of the hills of Donegal, of the hills of Donegal.
Luca Bloom, City of Chicago. And on to Lady of the Harbor. I had several requests for it via email before the show, and thank you for that. Of course, I'm happy to play it. I wrote this song in 2010 down at the Kerrville Folk Festival. As I was driving into the festival, I caught an NPR broadcast out of Arizona that was talking about how sheriffs had arrested 4 Hopis for not having proper citizenship identification or green cards. The Hopi's position being, of course, we've been here for, at least 1,500 years. Show us your green card. And it took a while to sort that all out, but it just metaphorically spoke to me volumes about the gap that still exists in our country around immigration, around relating to indigenous cultures and indigenous peoples. And then, of course, just these last couple of weeks, we've seen such tragic images in the news of law enforcement along the border, literally riding horses and cracking whips at, Haitian refugees and other folks just really trying to come here for the same reasons that a lot of our ancestors came here, looking for a better life. And I recognize that no song could tell the whole story or be inclusive of everybody's narrative. Those that were brought here against their will in the hulls of ships, those that came with no luggage at all, those that came here as indentured servants, those like my granddad Felix Kilbride, who came over with a single suitcase at 18, everything he owned in one suitcase. Those people who were here first for hundreds, if not thousands of years, who were dispossessed of their homelands by these newcomers. Our story is a complex one, but we have to keep striving to tell it in as many ways as we can and to do justice, at least in the story. So this is only one piece of the narrative, but it's a very authentic one.
Distant lands, the tempest tossed with hopeful hearts and calloused hands, reach toward the light, the torch held high, and cast their gaze upon the Lady of the Harbor, and she welcomes them with open arms. She says, let my children in. Shine on, oh you Lady They sailed from Sweden and from France and Ireland, their earthly cares packed in their bags. They cast their gaze upon the lady of the harbor, and she welcomed them with open arms. She said, "Let my children hear, shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor." Now we're locking down the borders and we're filling up the jails, and we say they don't belong. How conveniently do we forget that we've all come to sing the same sweet song? Will the dream survive the strain? Will huddled masses have a chance to learn its sweet refrain? Or will we fall into our fears and turn our backs against the lady of the harbor? And she welcomes them with open arms. She says, "Let my children hear, shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor, shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor, oh you lady of the harbor."
Thank you. This next song is one that I wrote almost 20 years ago. It was one of my first Halloweens on the road. Yeah, it was maybe my third year out full time on the road, and I was missing home and missing the normalcy of that season. This is one of my favorite holidays. Samhain in the Celtic tradition, it's the Celtic New Year. The New Year begins with the beginning of winter rather than the beginning of spring, and Samhain marks the closing of fall and the beginning of winter, that fallow period when things restore and renew and refresh and prepare themselves for the coming growth in the spring. And I feel very connected to that idea of Halloween. In the Catholic tradition, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day surrounds this. Latino, Latina, Latinx cultures often celebrate Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, around this time of year. But I got to thinking, there's so many things I love about Halloween. It's so sad to me that it only happens once a year. What would happen if every holiday was somehow attached to these ideas? And that just got me a little silly. I do remember that night. I was in Moab, Utah, and camping at Arches National Monument. And I drove, it was a midweek thing in between gigs, and I drove into Moab to the Five and Dime there. And I got myself a big orange piece of poster board and a slightly smaller yellow piece of poster board, and I folded it in half like you would in grade school, and pulled out a pair of scissors and cut it into the shape of a pumpkin, cut out the eyes and the jack-o'-lantern face, and stuck the yellow poster board behind it so it would look like it was glowing, and shoved it in the back of the Saturn station wagon that was the primary touring vehicle for years. And it brightened up a lot of people's day that next day on Halloween as I was driving on the interstate and headed to Denver from Moab. Got a lot of honks and a lot of thumbs up out the window. And so whatever your traditions are, whatever your holiday spirit is, celebrate it. It's a good thing to do and a good contradiction to the chaos of the last couple of years. So consider this a Halloween carol, and I think perhaps we need more of them. After I get a sip of water.
Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? Serve your family pumpkin soup some fine Christmas day. From your tree hang skulls and bats instead of candy canes. Oh, Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? Give your sweetie snakes and frogs instead of hearts bright red. She will know you love her with your gift of the undead. Oh, Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? What if Peter Cottontail hopped on wooden legs, wore a patch across his eye, and delivered rotting eggs? Oh, Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? At your summer picnic, put away the barbecue. Serve up a cauldron full of rats, seasoned with eye of newt. Oh, Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? Finally come Thanksgiving, as you guillotine your roast, please remember all those underprivileged, hungry ghosts. Oh, Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? Halloween, Halloween, ghouls and goblins calling out your name. Halloween, Halloween, only once a year, isn't that a shame? Only once a year, now isn't that a shame?
My first and so far only Halloween carol, but there you are. A little bit of something for the season. And I'm going to wind us down with a couple more songs, the first of which came out of research that I did last summer, sort of at the height of isolation last summer. I was thrilled to receive a small grant from the Library of Congress Folk Archives to do a little research and present a concert, video recorded concert of my research. And I dove deep into the work of John A. Lomax and his second wife, Ruby Tyrrell Lomax, and 3 days that they spent at the Rayford Prison in Florida in 1939, and lifted about a dozen songs out of these old recordings, old, scratchy, some of them almost inaudible recordings, and then narrowed it down to a smaller number to focus on for this video concert. But it was a delightful part of my summer. It was the lion's share of July and early August last year. That was just 4 weeks focused on this process and project. So I'm going to play one of those songs. It's one that many of you have heard by a number of blues artists, but a couple of these verses that the Lomaxes recorded in 1939 were published in a folk and blues songbook in 1942. But there are like 7 other verses that were not published, some of which because they were largely inaudible or there were words missing. So I contacted the lead archivist of the Lomax collection, and I said, well, I really want to work with this song, but it's missing some pieces. And he said, well, you're a songwriter, aren't you? I said, yeah. He said, well, have fun with it. Fix it. This has to be a living tradition. It's not just whatever was frozen, in amber in 1939. It has to be what has flowed downstream from that. So I spent a lot of time here in the studio with my audio equipment and a pair of headphones on and tweaking the EQ on different things. And I was able to lift just enough words that I could infer what would have been there in the place of the words that I could not hear. And so here is Take This Hammer. And it's a powerful song of hope from people who were living inside a prison. And it's sadly appropriate even still today, but it's a song of empowerment rather than a dirge. And I love that about it. And this song got me through some tough times this last year. Just knowing that a whole lot of people had endured a whole lot worse than me. And here it is. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone. And if he asks you, was I running? If he asked you, was I running? If he asks you, was I running? Tell him I was flying, Lord, tell him I was flying. Captain, captain, this old hammer too heavy. Captain, captain, this old hammer too heavy. Captain, captain, this old hammer too heavy. For the likes of man, for the likes of man. It must be the hammer that killed John Henry. Must be the hammer that killed John Henry. Must be the hammer that killed John Henry. But it won't kill me, no, it won't kill me. This old hammer shine like silver. This old hammer shine like silver. This old hammer shine like silver. But it rings like gold, Lord, it rings like gold. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. 'Cause they wound my soul, Lord, they wound my soul. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Don't you let me drown, don't you let me drown. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him
I'm gone. Tell them I'm gone. Lord, tell them I'm gone.
Thank you so much for being here this evening for Soup and Song Concert's presentation. So glad to be working with Charlie and Marilyn Bernhardt this evening. And I'm sorry that I'm not there in person in Marriottsville, Maryland tonight. And there's so many friends that I can just stand in the room and see this long, great hall. When they were getting a new house, that was the first priority. It's like, it's got to be able to host house concerts. So they just have this sort of long, great room in the house where everybody sits. And it's an amazing thing, and I miss all of you. I can see your faces in my mind as I look out and remember so many times offering concerts there. So please stay tuned. There will be more live concerts. Stay tuned to my website for information on that, or sign up for my mailing list if you're not on it. If you wanted to make a donation for tonight's show, a contribution, a voluntary ticket assessment, there's links in the sidebar chat. You can also go to my website, joejencks.com, and there's some links on the homepage, as well as that article I mentioned about Woody Guthrie and deportees and my history with that song from childhood. So thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm going to play one more song and then hop off the YouTube here, but there will be also more broadcast concerts for those of you that are staying secluded or just don't happen to be in the places where I'm doing live shows. And some of them will be hybrid. The 18th of November, I know for a fact I will be performing at the Ark in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I believe that will also be a broadcast show, so it'll be some of both. I'll be doing a show a month later in December from 6 on the Square in Oxford, New York, that I believe will also be a hybrid show where I'll be in person with an audience, but it will also be broadcast. So stay tuned for all of that. Thanks so much for your help. Thanks, Anna, for your help with the chat. Again, Charlie and Marilyn, Soup and Song Concerts, thank you so much for providing a union concert series. Really appreciate the integrity of that. I will close with this and wish you all a great evening and a good weekend. It's one most of you know. Please sing along from wherever you happen to be.
I see skies.
Excuse me, having a capo malfunction. But now you're all warmed up. Now you're ready to go.
I see fields of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? they're really saying I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Stay tuned. There'll be more concerts coming up. Have a great night.